Yeah, so you may notice we're slightly slow, which does tend to happen most Mondays. I think what happens is we go through the weekend and Monday comes, blah, blah. But today, it's not actually because of lack of sleep, at least not in my case.
No.
It's because my house has become an oven.
In fact, I
But
think
yeah,
that
let me know if my fans are too loud. Let me know if you can't hear me very well, or if I'm too loud.
I mean, you're quiet
or-
to me, but I had turned my headphones down. That's my gem this week. The volume control makes LAN louder.
What was the one you did last week? Just before the stream? You were like, okay, yeah, the levels are
Nope.
good,
No, I'm
and we're
pretty
ready
sure-
to. Oh, you're twice as loud when I have two headphones on.
I think that was on the stream, not before. No one can hear the fans, and to put them in his perfect project.
Fantastic. All right, so today we're going to play with particles in Godot 3. And I'm going to be playing probably primarily in 2D and then show what changes you need to do in 3D, or if you guys prefer, we can do maybe 3D. It's mostly the same, but first, let's share a screen and I'll show you what I've prepared.
Awesome.
So, entire screen, that one. Good. So you should be seeing my screen.
I can see your screen. It's black for the
Great.
moment, and then it'll move over.
So I have a bunch of sprites I brought in. Mostly I've got the Kenny particles because they're CC0 and everyone should have them. I've also got some that I made for the particle pack we have on our site. And I've made a couple of extra ones to play with. But first thing I'm going to do is make a 2D scene. And I don't need to call anything, so we don't need to save this. So you're going to open a particle 2D and talk through the first steps. The first thing I want to do is you're going to go to process material, and you're going to pick your process material. Now today, actually, no, no, I will just move the mic over here. We're going to be dealing with particle materials. I'm not very good at shaders, so that's why we're not going to deal with shaders. And you'll notice nothing has happened. Now in 2D, the reason for that is you need a texture. So what we're going to do is bring in a circle. It's a nice starting point. So this is just a soft circle I've made. And let's walk through the very basics before we start playing with things. So is it emitting? On or off, right? How many particles do you want on screen at the same time? So the way to think about particles is they're points in space that have either sprites or geometry that follow rules. And they're designed really to mimic pretty chaotic systems or chemistry systems that are quite hard to type in, but with some simple rules, the renderer can do it for you. So if I open time, we've got the lifetime. How long does each particle last? So let's say they last 10 seconds. And because we can only have 8 on the screen, they look like they're behaving very differently. They actually behave the same way. One shot, they'll fire once and then stop emitting. In this case, for a second. Pre-process, how many seconds will it simulate running before it does anything? So if I do it for 1 second, in theory, it should do almost nothing, right? Because it's just fading away. Speed scale, I've done all my stuff, but I want it to go faster because of reasons. So if you wanted your particle to go faster in code, that's what you would use. Explosiveness. Okay, so right now, they're all coming one at a time. Let's turn... Oh, I've got one shot on. Let's put on explosiveness, and they all get... if explosiveness is 1, they're all fired at the same time, not sequentially.
Ah, cool.
But what we can do is we can put that halfway down, and they're sort of clumped together, right? So that's the thing we can play with. There's also randomness. Now, this is only the randomness of the lifetime. So if I put this to here, and let's just increase lifetime to 5. Anywhere between 0 and 5 seconds is what we're seeing. So you're seeing like little bits of changes. Now, right now, these aren't that interesting. So let's put these back to basics. Yes.
Good evening, Gerard. And I've got a question on that randomness. So is the randomness also not only the lifetime, but when it's generated, when it's spawned into the world?
This specifically is lifetime randomness. Now, most of the other parameters will have random things that you can say how random it is. You'll notice there's a slider between 0 and 1. It's not a Boolean.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have 100% random. That's fine. One more thing that's usual to think about is local coordinates. Now, what this means is if I move this, do they stay there? Or if I turn it off, are they trails? All right. So if you've got particles following something and you want them to leave a little dotted line or whatever it is, you'll want local coordinates on. So those are your important ones. Okay. So those are our very basics. Let's do some fun stuff. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my process material. If I wanted, I could do another particle after this one. I'm not going to mess with that, but that's a thing you can do. Okay, time, lifetime randomness. So that's the one you're talking about, right? That's
how
random is, yeah. Trail, to be honest, I barely use. This is more useful in Godot 4, where there are actually particle trails, but this is treat the previous particles like a trail, and then I could do things like how big they are and what size they are using modifiers. So if I increase that to 5 and I go to my size scale, I'm going to do a new curve texture. I click on it, and I'm going to say we're going to start at 1 and go down to 0, and you should see, actually it's quite hard to see this, there we go. You have to put your subdivide on, otherwise it doesn't work. You'll see that each subdivision is following a different point on this curve. Honestly, I don't usually use that, but it is a useful thing if you want to play with it. Here's the stuff that I think is much more useful. If we go down to emission, actually, first thing I'm going to do, let's turn off gravity. So right now, gravity is at 98. Why is it positive 98 to go down? Because we're in 2D. And in Godot in 2D, positive Y is down. So 0, 0 is the top left corner in 2D. The way to think of it is the monitor starts here and scans across.
That's not just in Godot. That is how 2D space is represented. Screen space is represented like that as well.
I'm talking about Godot, so that's what I am clarifying. Boop, let's put that over there. Okay, so we're now on the origin point, and if I go to emission shape, now right now we have points, right? But I can make this a sphere. Okay, we can't see anything because this is a 1 pixel sphere. Let's do a 100 pixel sphere. Didn't mean to do that. And let's change the lifetime to 1 second. And it's going to appear somewhere within a 100 pixel sphere. Let's do a 500 pixel sphere.
Nice. Okay. And because we're looking down on it as if it was 2D,
this is 2D.
Yeah.
But it's still called sphere. Like it should be called circle. But in 3D, this would be a sphere, and it's the same deal.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be a sphere. It could be a box. Now, remember, in 2D space, this 1 is 1 pixel. That's why you're not seeing anything. So let's say we want 100 by 100. And there's no point having a z-axis for this, so I'm not going to. But it's there. We've also got points. Now, for this, you're going to want to make a point texture, which is a little bit out of scope of what we're doing here. But it's basically going to take a straight line and use, I think it's the RGB value, but it might be the alpha value, and figure out where that is. Honestly, I never mess with that, but it is one of the things. Same with director points, but you've also got ring, which is kind of fun.
Donut.
Yep. In fact, let's go 1,000 and 500. And let's make this really obvious. I've got you a donut.
And the inner radius is 500 pixels and the outer is 1,000.
Correct.
Oh, that would make an awesome portal type.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good start to a portal. We'll start making some fun things in a minute. I just want to go through some of the basics. I want to start messing around with them. It's not quite so like, why is he doing that? I've forgotten how to. Ow! Ah! Right. So we'll put that over there. I've been playing too much in Blender, and I keep trying to do like control and middle mouse button, and it's not working.
I have the exact problem when I go inside.
I know, it's weird, isn't it?